Hey, business building warrior, welcome to Silent Sales Machine Radio. Short episode today, as we like to do sometimes in the middle of the week. We're going to get in, get out, hopefully teach you something new, create a new perspective to improve your business, move you forward quickly. And the topic today is the 6 steps to having a completely hands-free Amazon business. There's a good number of people in our community who are doing just that. We're seeing some exciting momentum building around concepts like traveling full-time while you run your business, being able to travel anywhere in the world and just have an internet connection and keep an eye on things while growing a robust, profitable Amazon business. Many people have achieved exactly that. You've heard them on this podcast. You can see them discussing it in our Facebook group. There's people who use their RVs and travel full-time. There's moms who work at home just a few hours a week and monitor the numbers, and they've built incredible businesses. A good number of people have figured this out. Well, what are the 6 steps that you need to go through in order to make this happen? Now, if you happen to be watching on YouTube, I'm going to share my screen. Now, if you're listening, that's fine. It's 6 steps. I'll read them out to you and explain them very clearly. So if you're on a podcast app, that's fine. But there will be a link in the show notes today to the Facebook post that has these 6 steps spelled out. So if you're not a member of our Facebook group, you should definitely consider jumping in there and joining our Facebook group where 70,000 of us hang out all day, every day and talk about these things. That is at silentjimdotcom. There's a link. It's a free Facebook group, and you can see dozens and dozens of recent success stories, people talking about their businesses, sharing their results, spurring each other forward. It's a beautiful thing. But what are the 6 steps? Let's go through these. And if you happen to be watching on YouTube, or you can see the screen where I'm talking, you can see all 6 on the screen now. And cheat ahead if you'd like. I'll read through them real quick, and then we'll hit them one at a time. First one, learn to find profitable inventory. Now, this step can't be overstated. It can't be skipped. There's no shortcut here. Learn to find profitable inventory. That's the whole purpose of the Proven Amazon course, by the way. We teach you numerous strategies for finding profitable inventory and then scaling into the opportunity from there. So that's number 1. Number 2, learn to do the entire system yourself. Learn how to source products, learn how to prep products, learn how to monitor the statistics on Amazon Seller Central. You've got to know how to run the system. You can't just push a button and turn it over to somebody else suddenly. You've got to know the system. There's a bit of a learning curve. Some people learn it in a few weeks. Some people in their spare time take a year or more to learn this. It's up to you. The pace is entirely up to you, but you do need to learn the system. Third, find someone else to help you source product. And I'll tell you why that's an important first hire. We've hit on that topic before in past episodes, but I'll remind you why hiring someone to help you source profitable inventory is the best first hire you can make. Next, find someone else to shop for you. Once you've located the inventory, someone's got to actually go out and physically get their hands on it, either online, doing the shopping, putting in a credit card number and having it delivered to someone, or actually going to the stores, driving around. Someone's got to do that. So you automate that step next. Next, you automate finding someone to help you prep the product, get it ready, put it in the packages. Now, steps 4 and 5 can be interchanged. There's no specific reason to do one or the other before the other that I've ever heard. And you could argue either one of those. So step 4 or 5 could be swapped, finding someone to prep. Number 6 is everything else. Some of the good people that you've hired in steps 3, 4, and 5, start to give them a little more responsibility, put them in charge of the rest of the business. And I'll talk a little bit about that. So that's the 6 steps. Again, I'll repeat them very quickly. Learn to find profitable inventory, learn to run the entire system yourself, find someone else to help you source profitable inventory, find someone else to help you prep and shop. Those are the next 2 steps. Finally, some of the good people that you've been working with so far, put them in charge, give them more responsibility and more pay. That's the 6 steps. Let's go through them a little slower this time and go in a little deeper on each one. And that'll be an episode. Hopefully that challenges you forward. And again, there'll be a link to the conversation about this post located near this audio or video where you're watching us. You can come join us, ask questions. Even if you're listening to this well after the fact, that's fine. These 6 steps are very solid, and they've been Very useful for many people for a very long time. Step one, finding profitable inventory. Why does that matter? Well, let's talk about, again, the landscape of Amazon opportunities or even e-commerce opportunities. When we look at all the different types of opportunities that are out there, some people get excited about drop shipping. Some people get excited about private label. Some people get excited about all different random. There's hundreds of different ways to make money online. And I'm not saying they're all tragic except this one. But I am saying the highest odds of success that we've discovered from being in e-commerce for 20 years, if we're going to sit someone down cold and say, okay, we're going to teach you how to make money today. We're going to start you and put you through a system. Your best odds are with the REPLENS system as taught in the Proven Amazon course. That's why we start people there. Now, there's some other pretty simple things you can do that don't build to an automated system eventually. Such as if you could tell the neighbors in your neighborhood, hey, I'm going to be selling some stuff online. Do you have anything you want to sell? Because I'll split the money with you. If you've got no money, you can start there. But if you've got some money, you've got some time, you're ready to learn a system that's working and proven, meeting the demand at Amazon from all these customers who are shopping. And in many cases, there's not enough inventory on the shelves and you're meeting that demand, building out an automated system using the 6 steps. The REPLENS business is as predictable and steady and stable as anything else we've found. We're not addressing, well, am I passionate about it or not? I don't know if I want to sell things I'm not passionate about. I'm not here to fix that problem today. I'm here to talk about the 6 steps to having a completely hands-free business on Amazon. Is it a guarantee? Absolutely not. The hardest skill you're going to learn is step 1. And that's why we spend so much time on this step, learning to find profitable inventory. And there's dozens of strategies inside the Proven Amazon course to help you do exactly that. There are dozens of ways to find profitable REPLENS. And that's what this podcast is all about primarily. Most of the time, we're talking about people building Amazon businesses using the REPLENS system. If you're ready to get started with that, get into the Proven Amazon course. That's the best advice I've got for you. If it doesn't resonate with you, ask for a refund. It'll give you your $29 back. But if it does resonate with you and you start to see some momentum, which so many people do, we've got the steps for you to continue building and growing a beautiful system. ProvenAmazonCourse.com. That's step 1. Now, if you happen to live outside the United States, this opportunity is identical for you with one exception. You need to set up a US-based entity to buy and sell in the United States using this system. Now, if you live in Canada, you can probably do it there. If you live in the UK, you've got a decent shot at making it happen there as well. But by far the biggest market is in the United States. So no matter where you live in the world, if you set up a US-based entity, which we teach you how to do in one of the Proven Amazon course modules, we teach you how to do that. We show you step-by-step how to set up a US-based entity so you can sell in the US without ever seeing or touching your products. That course is at internationalaz.com, but it's also one of the modules inside the Proven Amazon course. So if you get the Proven Amazon course, you get it all. So step 2, moving on. You're going to want to do it all yourself. That means as you go through the Proven Amazon course, you've learned how to find profitable inventory. Now what? Well, you got to learn the system of sending it into Amazon, getting it labeled, looking at your numbers, watching to see if you're making a profit or not. Just because you bought it for $5 and sold it for $10 doesn't mean you made money. There's fees. There's other things you need to learn about the system. That's the stuff we step you through. Things like the 1/3 rule is a good rule. If you're selling inexpensive items, typically you're buying something for $5 or $10. You're going to want to sell it for at least 3 times that to make a profit, because Amazon's going to take about 1/3 of that in fees and shipping and materials that you're going to need. So the rule of thirds is a decent rule of thumb. Once you start getting up over $30, $40, $50 products that you're buying, as long as you're doubling your money, you're probably making money as a general rule. Now there's going to be different weights and different dimensions and different boxes needed. And those aren't hard, fast rules. But as a general rule, just because you're selling it for more than you paid does not mean you're making money ultimately. So learning those kinds of details, you need to understand the numbers of this business. You need to understand what it means to send a shipment into Amazon. You need to understand the difference between FBA and FBM, which if you don't know, FBM is kind of like selling on eBay. When it sells, you have to be the one put it in a box and ship it to the customer. That's merchant fulfill, or fulfillment by merchant, FBM. FBA is fulfillment by Amazon. That means Amazon's putting it in a box and sending it to the customer, because you've sent a big box of all your inventory to Amazon, labeled as your inventory. They store it, and then as it sells, they do the fulfillment by Amazon, FBA, FBM, right? So there's some new terminology you got to learn. That's why it's important for you to get into the course, to go through the Amazon 101 module inside the Proven Amazon course, and then go through the replenishable module. That's our REPLENS training. And then from there, you get into some of the creative sourcing strategies that we teach. Maybe take the bundling course, where you can create bundles and put them in your own branded box. So common everyday items that you'd recognize bundled together in your branded box is a unique product that only you can sell without you having to go out and invent anything except the box with a label on it. So those are the kind of things we teach you in the Proven Amazon course, but you need to learn these things. For some people, it takes a few weeks. For some people, it takes a lot longer than that. But that's an important step too. You're on your way to having a fully automated business that you can step away from. Step 3 is when you start bringing in some help. You understand how it works, and you start bringing in some help. Who's the first person you should hire? You'll hear different opinions on this, but I'm going to make a very strong case that the first person you hire should be somebody who puts money in your pocket, not somebody who takes money out of your pocket. That makes sense, right? This is actually some classic Dave Ramsey business advice for anybody who's got a growing business. The first person you hire isn't a convenience hire. It's not somebody to do the stuff that you don't like doing. It's not somebody that can do the stuff that you find boring or a drudgery. That's not it. You may have the luxury of doing that if you've got a whole lot of capital, and you may be just fine. But the prudent thing to do, the most conservative, consistent, fiscally responsible thing to do is to hire somebody that puts more money into the business because of the activities that they're doing. And that would be the equivalent of hiring a sales rep if you had a traditional company trying to sell a product. Well, the equivalent of hiring a sales rep is hiring somebody to look for new profitable inventory alongside you. A lot of times that could be a virtual assistant. A Proven REPLENS VA is a good idea there. ProvenReplensVA.com is our service now with over 300 clients who have a full-time worker in the Philippines who works just for you using the strategies that we've taught them. Then they work for you. So we turn them over to you. You pay them hourly, typically around $3, $4, $5 an hour, which is a lot of money in the Philippines. That is what most college graduates, it's actually more than what most college graduates earn with a good job in the Philippines, where the average hourly wage is $1 per hour. You're paying 3, 4, 5 times the average salary for folks who live there. So they're thrilled to work at that rate just for you finding profitable inventory. That's a great next step. If you try to do that step too early, it may not work out. Because again, you need to understand the system first. Next, we're going to start finding people who can shop and prep for us. Either go to the stores if you're buying your inventory that way, contact the wholesalers when it's time to order more if you're doing that, or get online, hit those sites and those sources where you're used to pulling your inventory in. A virtual assistant can do that. It could be a trusted friend in the neighborhood. It doesn't really matter a whole lot, but you start to turn that piece over to somebody. The prepping in your garage, the putting stuff in the boxes, sending it to Amazon. There's prep centers all over the world. Prep Center Network is actually an entire network of hundreds of prep centers all over the world. Our list of prep centers continues to grow. The first prep center that ever existed came from our community, and it's exploded as an industry since then. Many people have just a handful of clients, and some people have dozens or hundreds of clients, because there's a lot of folks in this industry who want to step away from putting stuff in boxes and putting tape on those boxes and labeling everything. There's an economy of scale that goes with getting really good at that part of the business. So you can step into using a prep center, or keep it simple. Just use a neighbor instead of bringing all the stuff home from the store or shopping online and having it delivered to your front porch. Take it to a neighbor's house, a single mom who needs a few extra hours of work per week. It's a great gig for somebody to do part-time. Pay them a few dollars to do that. So there's a few different options for you there on getting your stuff prepped. I suggest you know how to do it yourself. I suggest you learn the process, but then over time, slowly offload that onto somebody else that's a great next step. And you're well on your way at this point. We're at step 5 of 6 at this point to having a business where you're not necessarily needed a whole lot. It's getting pretty beautiful at this point. You're able to step back and watch your numbers. And that's step 6. All the other little details, the account health, the daily monitoring, checking in on Seller Central, seeing if there's anything that needs to be addressed, raising a red flag when there's an issue, that can all be put on someone else's desk, someone that you trust, someone who's kind of risen. Maybe it was that first person you hired who's been doing some sourcing for you, that first virtual assistant that you brought on board. Maybe that's the one that you have and you train to do this. But you can slowly start to step away. Your motto the whole time is asking yourself this question: am I the only one that could be doing the process that I'm doing right now? If not, I need to bring someone else in and have them do it. And that's why it's very important that the first person you bring in is putting more money in your pocket. You don't move past step 3 until you've proven that you can teach someone else how to catch fish the same way you've been catching fish. At that point, why not hire another virtual assistant, 2 or 3 of them? We have clients that have hired 2 or 3 different virtual assistants from us. So they've got a good team of people constantly sourcing, finding new ASINs, finding new profitable products that they can sell against. They've got someone else doing the shopping. And we've got standard operating procedures for all of this, by the way. If you weren't aware, many of our sellers have been through our advanced REPLENS mastermind. I'll stick a link to that in the show notes as well. Our ARM program, as we call it, that's with Jimmy Smith, the guy that systemized the REPLENS system. And actually the best-selling book on the topic and has helped thousands of people. He's the one that created the course inside the Proven Amazon course, the different modules. The one that has to do with REPLENS, he created it and really steps you through it. Well, he's the guy that you can go through one-on-one, small group. It's not one-on-one, but it's a small group, like a mastermind experience, our advanced REPLENS mastermind. And there's all kinds of standard operating procedures as your business scales. You're going to be facing very different challenges. For example, once you're at $10,000 a month, $30,000 a month, $50,000, $100,000 a month, there's different challenges, different steps, different things that you're going to need to put into place. We've seen all that play out over and over and over again in this community. So we've got the standard operating procedures for those different size businesses. So that'll be a good step for you to consider as you start to grow too. And you're well on your way towards automating once you have these SOPs in place. By the way, another good way to get a hold of some of the great standard operating procedures for REPLENS business as you start to grow is to get into our private REPLENS Facebook group. I'll put that in the show notes as well. Basically, if you've got the Proven Amazon course, you are eligible to join our private REPLENS seller Facebook group. Now, that is a paid group that's only for serious REPLENS Amazon business builders. There's a few thousand people in there. They're swapping ideas, talking only Amazon REPLENS. Our bigger Amazon Facebook group at My Silent Team, there's a link at silentjim.com. That's the best way to find it. Just go to silentjim.com and look for the Facebook link. 70,000 people there. We talk about all kinds of e-commerce topics. There's a lot of Amazon conversation for sure. That's 90% of what we talk about. We talk about a little bit of everything. And there's a lot of brand new people in there. And you're welcome. We love seeing new people come in there. But if you want to step out of that noise just a little bit into a group where it's just a few thousand people who do the REPLENS business exclusively, then that private REPLENS Facebook group is for you. Contact our support team if you have questions about any of this, including joining our private REPLENS Facebook group. And there's a lot of standard operating procedures in there for you as well that will really help you out. So hopefully you found this episode helpful and got my list there on the screen for you. If you didn't see it, I'll stick it in the show notes as well if you just happen to be listening today. And of course, a link to the discussion. So if you have any questions about it, I'd love to hear from you and we can certainly help you out. But several people have let us know that this list, the few times that we've posted it, has been very useful for them. So we thought we'd share it as a mini podcast episode. So hopefully you gained some good wisdom from this and challenged. And, one of the things I'd like to open your eyes up to is the fact that this Amazon business model can be fully automated, not overnight. It takes work, it takes a process. There's some learning curve here, but you can turn this into a hands-free business model, an asset, if you will. And many people have done just that. You've heard them on this podcast. All right. God bless you, business building warrior. We will have another great episode for you again very soon. Loved hanging out with you a little bit today. Talk to you then.